All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I call the meeting of the Community Development Human Services Committee meeting to order. I am Jason Winston, chair of the committee, and I am joined by my colleagues to my far right, Councilmember Boone and Councilmember Dozier, and to my left, we have Councilmember Norwood. This does constitute a quorum, so I will make a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Can you please open the vote?
One moment, please. One moment. The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda is adopted.
Thank you. At this time, I move to approve the minutes from our last committee meeting.
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Norwood. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes are approved.
Thank you. And we've been joined by Councilmember Liliani Bakhtiari. And next, I'd like to move to designate Councilmember Dozier as the vice chair of the 2025 Community Development Human Services Committee. We have a second by Councilmember Boone. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. That would be 5 yeas, 0 nays. Councilmember Dozier is the vice chair of CDHS.
Thank you. Colleagues, you should have in your inbox the goals and objectives from last year, but our goal is to try to adopt these by our February the 11th meeting. So please send any recommendations you have to Ms. Tell, and she will collect your suggestions. The 2024 goals, like I said, are in your end-of-year packet, so please review those and get any recommendations you have for the 2025 year to Ms. Tell by February 11th. At this time, we will go to the public comment section of our agenda. We do have a few people lined up to speak today. Our first speaker is Dr. Shelly Francis. Just to remind our speakers, you will have 3 minutes, and if you can come up to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good. So I am excited to see my council person, District 10, Representative Boone, but just want to acknowledge members of the Community Development and Human Services Committee. My name is Dr. Shelly Francis, and I am the co-founder and managing partner of EV Noir, and we're an organization that's focused on accelerating electric, connected, shared, and autonomous mobility. Our work centers on data-driven approaches to advance multimodal electrification while also ensuring that that transition is equitable and sustainable. I'm one of the co-founders, and we're HQ'd here in Atlanta. I've been in operation for close to 10 years now. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak today in support of the proposed amendments to the City of Atlanta's EV Readiness Ordinance. This amendment serves as a forward-looking investment in Atlanta's infrastructure and community well-being. As the demand for electric vehicle grows, driven by decreased cost, increased affordability, and heightened focus on climate action, Atlanta must ensure its infrastructure evolves to meet this moment. These amendments are a critical step in doing just that. By increasing EVSE readiness and installation requirements for both commercial and residential construction, this ordinance would eliminate costly retrofits, making it easier and more affordable to integrate EV charging infrastructure into new developments. Importantly, these measures also prioritize equity, ensuring that historically underserved communities, particularly in Atlanta's West, Southwest, and South regions, are not left behind. They also prioritize equitable access by including provisions for ADA ADA compliant EV charging, and by leveraging incentives like Georgia Power's rebates and federal tax credits to offset costs. In addition to advancing equity, the ordinance supports the city's ambitious climate goals by aligning with the city's target of a 40% reduction in emissions by 2030. Expanding EV infrastructure directly reduces local emissions and improves air quality and public health outcomes, particularly in communities that are disproportionately impacted by transportation emissions. So, the ordinance integrates critical fire safety standards to ensure safe deployment of EV chargers in residential and commercial developments. Economically, the ordinance positions Atlanta to remain a leader in the clean transportation revolution. With billions of dollars in EV and battery manufacturing investments flowing into Georgia, this ordinance sends a clear signal to businesses and residents alike that Atlanta is ready to embrace the future. These investments also create opportunities for workforce development and job creation in emerging industries, opening pathways for residents to benefit directly from this transition. So thank you for advancing this important initiative. Thank you for your leadership on this important issue. EV Noir is proud to support these amendments, and we look forward to collaborating with you to build a cleaner, safer, and more equitable Atlanta. And together we can ensure that no community is left behind as we embrace this electrified future. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Justin, I think is Brightheart. Please correct me if I got that incorrect.
Yes, good afternoon. You actually did. One of the very few who do. So thank you for that. So good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on the EV Readiness Ordinance. My name is Justin Brightheart, and I'm with the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance. We're a regional energy efficiency 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Atlanta. And we work with our public, private, nonprofit, and community sector partners to optimize the use and impact of energy to enhance the quality of life in the Southeast. I was fortunate enough to work on this policy in 2017 and excited to see that this is coming back up again. And due to its broad impact, increasing charging access and potentially lowering construction costs for consumers, this policy can further equity goals. So just to provide a few facts, the U.S. Department of Energy estimates that 80% of EV charging happens at home or work, spaces this policy prioritizes. The Pacific Northwest National Laboratory estimates that 75% of retrofit costs can be avoided per electric vehicle space when charging infrastructure is added during construction versus retrofitting. That could mean hundreds of dollars versus thousands of dollars. Lower construction costs and shorter installation times could mean sites can react quicker to market growth compared to sites without EV-ready infrastructure. And so what that means, that could also mean to more electric vehicle adoption. And some of the benefits there are, it's estimated that consumers can save up to $1,640 in the first year of driving an electric vehicle. And it's also estimated that up to 9,080 pounds of carbon dioxide could be reduced per electric vehicle on the road. And that's coupled with the city's emission reduction goals, could mean cleaner air. And that could also mean the promotion of public health. The University of Southern California's Keck School of Medicine measured a 3.2% drop in asthma-related emergency room visits for every 20 electric vehicles adopted per 1,000 people at the zip code level. So expanding this policy could have an incredible impact on the city of Atlanta and the surrounding area, and this reinforces Atlanta's leadership in Georgia, the Southeast, and the country. But I want to thank you all for your time for this and the consideration of this policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Ann Blair. And again, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Ann Blair. I'm Vice President of Policy for the Electrification Coalition, and I also serve as past president of EV Club of the South, which has been around for more than 20 years and serves to support growing transportation and electrification across the Atlanta area and the Southeast. The Electrification Coalition is a national nonprofit organization that works to support the national security and economic benefits of transportation electrification. And we are working with the City of Atlanta and many other communities across the country to support electrification strategies and ensure that the city, the state, and the country are well positioned to take advantage of this unique opportunity in our country and make sure that we are preparing ourselves, preparing our infrastructure to meet the needs of transportation electrification. It is here and will continue to grow. Today, I come before you in support of the amendments to the EV Readiness Ordinance. EVs provide many benefits to residents, economic development, and the environment across our region. As the EV market continues to expand, charging will become ever more paramount to our community. A recent study, 2024 study by J.D. Power, has found that while cost concern has declined about EVs, access to charging has grown as a concern, registering 52% of respondents in the most recent study. Focusing on the installation of EV charging during construction of new buildings or major renovations of parking areas, construction costs are reduced by 75%, just to echo something that Justin also mentioned. And that's compared to retrofitting it after the fact, based on the findings from cities and countries across the country and the world. The EC is proud to have supported the initial EV Readiness Ordinance and is excited to support this amendment. This amendment will not only allow proactive infrastructure planning citywide, but also set the City of Atlanta as the model for successful charging infrastructure policy implementation across the Southeast. It ensures Atlantans have the right to charge and save in the long term on maintenance and fuel costs. Paired with Georgia Power's incentives, this allows residents and businesses to have the freedom to purchase and charge their EVs while paving the way towards citywide fleet goals, allowing for quieter roadways and cleaner air in the city. So I encourage your support of these amendments, and thank you again for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Catherine Cope, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello. Hi. Thank you guys for the opportunity to speak here. I really appreciate a lot of the work that many of you have done in keeping up with the Atlanta Tree Ordinance. We talk about sustainability. We talk about the future of Atlanta. There isn't an ordinance that's more important than the Tree Ordinance. There's a lot of moving parts to the Tree Ordinance. Sometimes, we're asked to say, what are our top 3 things? Or something like that. It's a little bit like saying, we have our liver, we have our kidneys, we have our lungs, we have our brain, we have our heart. Pick your top 3, right? So all these things are connected, and I know I only have a short amount of time to talk right now. I'd like very much to be involved. I've been working closely with Howard Katzman and other members of our community to work on amendments to the tree ordinance. We would like to continue in those discussions and meet with each of you individually. But today, I'd like to just talk about 2 things very quickly. I know that the tree ordinance discussion is being moved forward, which is great. One of the things that's most important is the requirement for single-family residential. As written and proposed currently by the Planning Department, that is a good concept, but the actual wording and the way that it is written will cause unintended consequences where some people will have to save a bunch of trees on their lot and somebody else will be able to save maybe a 10-inch tree and clear cut the rest. That's going to make tree advocates upset and probably builders upset too by its inconsistency. So I have a little sheet and a diagram that explains that very clearly. I'd like for you guys to take a look at it. There's 2 sheets here. One is on the one. So the first is on the what I just mentioned for the single-family residential. The other is something that we really need to take seriously for subdivisions. Right now, there is no viable mechanism to plan a subdivision to include green space. It's not included in the draft. What we need to start doing is working toward cluster design. It's a win-win. A developer can set aside green space, and in trade for that, they get some breaks on the setbacks and the road frontage. So they actually have a density neutral project. That's really what we need to get to. I have another sheet on that. There's a lot of work being done. There's a institute in Charlottesville, Virginia. There's a whole booklet on how to do conservation subdivisions, and that's in the material I just gave you. But I'd really like to encourage, great, thank you. very much like to encourage a win-win. It works for developers, it works to protect green space. Conservation subdivisions right now are not being used by the city because they're not designed correctly. So please take a look at that, and hopefully we can continue this discussion. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And our next speaker is Kathy McClure.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kathy McClure. I'm an Atlanta resident, and I'm an attorney and vice president of the Atlanta Metro Short-Term Rental Association. I'm here speaking on behalf of our member organization. We believe in reasonable regulation of short-term rentals to ensure that our guests do not disturb the residents near them. For many years, short-term rentals have served the community by providing lodging for all types of visitors to our city, including families, medical visitors, film workers, and many, many others. And as we look toward the World Cup, we know there is an inadequate supply of hotel space to house all the visitors that we believe will be coming to Atlanta. Well, here we are today. There are currently 2 measures before this committee regarding short-term rentals, one proposed by Councilmember Dozier and the other by Councilmember Amos. It is remarkable to me that we are 4 years after the passage of the original ordinance, and yet the short-term rental ordinance has never been enforced due to legal problems that were encountered at the very beginning. As an organization, we were part of the discussions with the administration and council concerning those issues. And we look forward to working with you again on these particular measures that are before you now. We believe that legislation should be reasonable, easy to understand and enforce, and comports with the law. Top among our concern is the need for recognition of grandfather rights for existing short-term rental ordinances. This grandfather rights were addressed by the Supreme Court of Georgia in Morgan versus May. We're happy to provide you background on that, and we believe this is a settled issue in terms of the law, and that it would be extremely important for proposed legislation to include, to address grandfather rights of existing units. Remarkably, you would think this is non-controversial, but it is not in either of these papers that are currently before you. So we hope to educate you further, answer your questions on grandfather rights, and move forward on that. Secondly, we are deeply concerned about the buffers that have come back from the dead. There's now a 1,000-foot buffer proposal in Councilmember Amos's proposal. This would fall under the category of not easy to understand or easy to enforce, and would be yet another unforced error by the city should the city decide to adopt a buffer. To our knowledge, there is not a single jurisdiction of nearly the size of Atlanta that has adopted this method because it is so unwise. And so that's all I have today, but thank you, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. And I just want to point out, I know we had someone that spoke to the tree protection ordinance as well as the STR. No action will be taken on those today. They are currently being held in the zoning committee. They require advertisement to both the NPU and a public notice in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
So are you saying that the short-term rental ordinance goes before the NPU? I thought since it was a non-zoning ordinance that it would not.
It does not. Oh. Or is it just a tree protection ordinance? Okay, just a tree protection ordinance, but that one does require an advertisement.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And our last speaker is Aaron, and I'm probably not going to get your last name. LeQuay. Okay, awesome. And you have 3 minutes.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm Aaron LeQuay, founder and CEO of EnviroSpark.
And if you don't mind lifting up the microphone a little bit.
You can't hear me? 3 minutes. All right. So I'm the founder and CEO of EnviroSpark. We are an Atlanta-based company. My wife and I founded EnviroSpark a little over 10 years ago. Met at Georgia Tech, best friends, and wanted to do something sustainable. Over the past several years, we've become one of the largest deployers of EV infrastructure in the country, more than 10,000 stations installed. And when we were founding the company, we had a choice. We thought, man, there's a lot of opportunity out in California. Maybe we go out there and start our business out there. But Atlanta's home for us. And we're so glad that we stayed here. And we wanted to make Atlanta, we wanted to take what was already starting to happen out there and bring it here. We saw the growth that was starting to happen, and we said, how can we play some meaningful role in that process here and help spur on, a more sustainable future in the automotive industry? So there's a lot of things I think I could talk about that we've seen just over the last 10 years and the benefits of some of the partnerships that we've had, just the opportunities to work with Georgia Power and the city and what that's meant for our growth and the job development that's been created through that. And so that's what I was really going to speak to, because it's been really neat over the last 10 years. We started with my wife and I, and and we're up to close to 150 employees. And what's so cool is that it doesn't matter what somebody's background is, it doesn't matter what their education level is. If they want to be part of something bigger than themselves and they want to try to make an impact, there's a job opportunity regardless of their field at EnviroSpark. We're hiring accountants, software engineers, HR staff, marketing roles. I mean, business development, everything that you can think of. Operations, project management, electricians, field workers. There's just so many different types of jobs and career paths that you can take, and it's been really exciting to have veterans coming in from other industries and kind of joining the mission. And our mission hasn't changed in the last 10 years. Our goal was always to raise awareness for electrification and the benefits of EVs. And then the second piece of that, and where the business case was we wanted to get charging stations installed. We had this hope that every time somebody saw a charging station that otherwise wouldn't have been there without our involvement, they might be a little more comfortable with the idea of getting an electric car. And so I wanted to speak in favor of the ordinance and just say that it's just one more step towards making Atlanta that beacon that we always hoped it would become for electrification and the future of the auto industry. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And this doesn't conclude the public comment section of our agenda, so it now takes us to the regular agenda portion.
That takes us to Section H, ordinances for second reading, 25-0-1011, an ordinance by Councilmember Jason H. Winston to amend Part 3, Appendix B, Chapter 1, Section 101.8, electric vehicle charging infrastructure, readiness requirement for new commercial construction, and Section 101.9, electric vehicle charging infrastructure readiness requirement for new residential construction to implement new regulatory requirements, to improve and clarify processes, to update references and definitions, and to make other drafting amendments and for other purposes. Mr. Chair, this item needs to be substituted. May we have a motion to bring forth the substitute?
Make a motion to bring forth the substitute. And we have a second by Councilmember Bakhtiari. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is before you.
All right, we've heard a lot, but we'll bring up Chief Farley to tell us a little bit about this ordinance.
Happy New Year, committee. Thank
Year.
you, Chair Winston. Chandra Farley, Chief Sustainability Officer. I lead the Mayor's Office of Sustainability and Resilience. I'm not usually in front of this committee, but Chair Winston will remember some of this from his time leading the City Utilities Committee, that updating our city ordinances has been a priority for me and my office. So definitely want to thank our partner advocates for being here. They've been critical technical support as we have been moving through this process for about a year, I would say, if not a little bit longer. Also want to thank our departmental partners, DPW, Office of Fleet Services, Fire and Rescue, City Planning, Office of Buildings, Department of Law, the Executive Office, Chief of Staff, Deputy Wagner, and especially our mayor, our climate mayor, Mayor Andre Dickens. And I want to recognize Deputy Seidel for his commitment and leadership of this effort that has had many moving parts and pieces. So the EV ordinance was a top priority for us in the list of sustainable infrastructure ordinances that we have in the city that are well due for an update. So as you've heard today, this will be critical to bring us in line not only with our peers, but industry standards. And the priority was also driven by federal action from the Biden-Harris administration, including available funding, approximately $18 million of which has flowed to City of Atlanta, which we have won with thanks to many of those departmental partners. In addition to the partner advocates that we have in the room today, we also have a letter of support from Hertz Corporation. Hertz was a partner with us to launch Hertz Electrifies Atlanta during Earth Month, April, about 2 years ago. And our partner here at EnviroSpark is working with us to expand access to charging in the government center deck. That's a project that will be installed here, which is really important. So you heard Justin talk about 80% of people can charge at home. You've heard me say, at least in city utilities, but a lot, I'm one of those 20% of people that can't charge at home. So I depend on charging here at City Hall or out in the community. So this is really important, and we are super excited about all of our partnerships. And Deputy Seidel is here to answer any questions and a deeper dive into the ordinance.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from colleagues? We have a motion to approve as substituted by Councilmember Westmoreland. Has been seconded by Councilmember Bakhtiari. I will just add that really excited that you all have been doing this and working on this, because one of the things I hear from talking about people in the EV community is about range anxiety.
Yes.
And how that limits people from being able to either take the leap in getting an EV or taking various road trips. And so that range anxiety, not having those EV stations available to be able to charge their cars, is one of the things that's been prohibiting us from being able to see the growth in the industry. And so I'm glad that the city is taking the initiative to really expand that network so that we can see this move forward. So thank you. Councilmember Bakhtiari.
I think the part that I am most looking forward to is just the number of Black residents I've spoken to that have said that they just do not have charging options on the west side and other parts of our city, and the disconnect there from, I got picked up by a woman the other day who claimed that who said that she actually had to sleep at a charging station for 3 hours in order to continue doing her job and get to where she needed to go. So I do appreciate it. I do want to flag that y'all have a public meeting that people can attend as well, correct? Like some of the organizations that spoke today also have public meetings. So anybody that's also interested in continuing to further this issue should look up the organizations that spoke today, because I know I've gotten to attend some meetings at Manuel's Tavern. So please look into that, but also thank you so much, because undoubtedly the work you're doing is improving lives more than any of us realize. So thank you.
Any other questions, comments from colleagues? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve as substituted by Westmoreland, and it's been properly seconded by Councilmember Bakhtiari. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable on substitute. That takes us to Section I, Resolutions, 25R3007. Mr. Chair, this item needs to be substituted, and it changes the caption. Can we have a motion to bring forth the substitute?
That motion by Councilmember Westmoreland and seconded by Councilmember Bakhtiari. If you can please open the vote.
One moment. The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is now before you. A resolution by Councilmember Alex Wan, as substituted by Community Development Human Services Committee, authorizing a donation in an amount not to exceed $400,000 and 0 cents from the account listed herein to Olmsted Lanier Park Alliance Incorporated, pursuant to Section 6-306 of the City of Atlanta Charter, to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute a donation agreement and for other purposes.
Move to approve as substituted. We have a second by Councilmember Bakhtiari. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable on substitute. 25R3015, a resolution by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contractual agreement with Scape Landscape for the RFP listed Riverlands Corridor and Chattahoochee Brick Company Planning for Chattahoochee Riverlands Trail Scoping Study on behalf of the Department of City Planning in an amount not to exceed $1,766,981.77. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund department organization and account numbers listed and for other purposes. Mr. Chair, this item will need to be held for the iPro report.
I'll make a motion to hold. Second. I have a second by Dozier. If you could please open the vote. That walk.
The vote is open. Six yeas, 0 nays. This item is held in committee. 25R3075, a resolution by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to add funding to the RFP listed under $250,000 for ADA and other improvements with Leachy Commercial Construction Incorporated on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation, an amount not to exceed $200,000 and 0 cents from District 2, Councilmember Amir Faroki for playground resurfacing improvements at Historic Fourth Ward Park and Skate Park, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to make the payment from the account number listed herein and for other purposes.
Director Keith Hicks.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Keith Hicks. I'm Park Design Director, and I'm here today to speak to you about this resolution. This resolution authorizes the mayor or a designee to allot $200,000 in funding under contract RFP C-121-0319B for playground resurfacing improvements at Historic Fourth Ward Park and Skate Park. The improvements aim to enhance accessibility, safety, and overall user experience for residents and visitors of the park. The key components of the resolution, the funding source, the $200,000 is made possible by District 2 Councilmember Amir Faroki. The project will utilize the existing contract with Leachy Commercial Construction, Inc., which includes ADA and other improvements. The contract has a base term of 3 years and with 1 year renewal options, ensuring flexibility and continuity in project execution. The scope of work at the playground is resurfacing and will be conducted at the park and at the skate park. Accessibility enhancements ensure compliance with ADA standards, improving access for individuals with disabilities. And safety upgrades provide a safer environment for children and families by replacing worn and damaged surfacing that's there now. The financial structure, the project is funded through the 2022 A1 General Observation Public Improvement Bond Fund infrastructure, and these are horizontal bond funds.
Second. We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Westmoreland. Got a second by Dozier. If you can please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
Thank you.
That takes us.
Sorry, one quick
sorry,
comment
go
by
ahead.
Councilmember Dozier.
Yes, sir.
Director, it's not related to this legislation specifically, but it reminded me, since we're doing something similar in Mechanicsville, I was just curious if you had an update on Winter Street Park and when we can expect
Yes,
some-
I believe that PO, the purchase orders is in process on that. And as soon as we get that purchase order, we should be starting that project for you, sir.
Do we have a general sense of how long that's going to take?
I would say within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I have like 5 questions about my parks. No, I'm kidding. Go, go, go.
Thank you. Take us to the held section of our agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have one item coming off of hold. That's item number 14, 24R4601, a resolution by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the City of Atlanta to donate a total amount not to exceed $1 million and 0 cents to Hope Atlanta pursuant to Section 6-306 of the City of Atlanta's Charter to support efforts to prevent displacement, homelessness, and hunger, authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into any necessary agreements to effectuate the donation, and authorize the chief financial officer or his designee to make all payments from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve on condition of a substitute that corrects the account strings. Is there got a second by Bakhtiari?
The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. This item will be forwarded on condition of a substitute for Tuesday's full council meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Westmoreland. Any comment on your abstention?
Sure, Mr. Chair. I serve on the board of directors for this organization.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that brings us to the end of our agenda.
Thank you. Any parting words or comments from colleagues? I would like to take a point of privilege to just wish a happy birthday to my mother. Today is her birthday, so happy birthday to my mom. She's also celebrating another milestone in her life. She is 10 years in remission from breast cancer, so we just want to say that we appreciate all she does for our family. So thank you, Mom, and happy birthday. With that, we stand adjourned.